Welcome to the next issue
podcast. Please enjoy
the show.
Woo! Here we go.
Woo! Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Next Issue podcast. As you can see, we have a special guest today joining us all the way from, I don't know where Jack comes from, but it's Jack. How are you, Jack?
The hills.
I'm doing
All the way
all
from
right,
the
guys.
hills.
Jack
I'll
from
never
the hills.
reveal my true origins. So.
Yeah. Like the Joker, Jack.
Yeah.
Very
I like to
fluid.
think of it as multiple choice. But
That's right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Jack. On today's show, we are going to talk about all the things that comic publishers are doing wrong and some of the things that they're doing right. We do want to be fair on that, but I feel like, we'll go over our credentials as to why we're the experts. This panel that I've assembled, it's the equivalent of gathering 5 Mensa level intellects, but about comic books.
You're not wrong. We're like the A team of comic experts.
That's right.
If A was not the first letter,
I'd hate to see the B team.
Yeah, right.
Great. So, Jack, first of all, you want to, I guess, introduce yourself to the audience real quick, and why? What do you think I drafted you into this panel?
Alrighty, so I feel like I was specifically brought in because I currently manage a comic book store, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great job. It makes it very hard to want to leave and that sort of thing, but not that I want to leave. It's just
Jack,
my passion
Well,
is
you're
all-
wrong. We brought you on for your singing skills. Now,
what? Finally, my time has come.
Jeff primed you. You have to do Islands in the Stream. So
the
Only
one
10
number
seconds
I
of it,
don't
no.
know.
we can only do 10 seconds of songs at a time for the before we get into the copyright. But Jack, I wanted to also ask, you make films and you recently were at a festival. You want to tell us about that? And if you have any links to your stuff, I'll drop them in after the show, because I mean, we've seen them. We know Jack because obviously we go to Boomerang and we do the comic book club there as well, which is always a lot of fun. We actually have a meeting later on today in which we'll be discussing Avengers Twilight, which is a book that I have read. So it'll be an interesting conversation.
All right. Yeah, I do make movies. That's what I went to school for, and that is, I guess, my primary passion above even comics, which is shocking to say, I know, but yeah, I've always loved movies. I actually won an award while I was down at that festival. It is my first award for this particular movie, which was Rugged. And so, yeah.
Very cool. Now, what was the festival that you were at?
The festival was called the Texas Short Film Festival. It is a part of a multi-festival group that's kind of owned by a bunch of different people all across the nation. And so the judges for each and every film are kind of scattered nationwide, but they always have specific managers of each individual festival on the local level. And so it's one of the largest short film festivals in the nation, but not necessarily on a state by state basis, if that makes sense. So
It doesn't. I'm sorry.
Cool.
Cool. No, that's
within
actually
Texas individually, it's not one of the largest, but yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very cool. So we'll have to keep an eye on Jack. So speaking of movies, big news for the world of entertainment this week, and there's just no way we can not talk about it on our quick hit section before we get into our main discussion. Netflix is going to buy Warner Brothers, and it's a very loaded statement because what is Warner Brothers? First of all, no one knows. It's very nebulous. David Zaslav has made it very hard to figure out what exactly it truly entails. But I don't know. I'm gonna pass it over to the panel. Like, what do you guys think about all that?
I think it's just the water tower. I think all
But do they get the Warner kids?
if they're inside, they get the Warner kids. But if they're out, then
fair.
they're out. They just come. They just come
Hopefully
back to
they're
the
off on
lot.
an adventure.
I honestly feel like of all the public bidders, Netflix is probably the least terrible.
That is kind of my thought too. Like, I really didn't want Paramount to get it, and so I agree with that statement.
As much as I want my, as much as I would love to see a Landman Batman crossover, or maybe what's the Kevin Costner show?
Yellowstone.
Yeah, like a Yellowstone. Like they happen to be neighbors with the Kents or something. I know none of that is accurate in the map, but we can make it work.
It would become very pro Lex Luthor, like Lex Luthor, big business, capitalistic.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff. It'd be very fun.
Or Lex Luthor could join SpongeBob for a very special episode.
I guess my only concern, and I know Netflix has a history of creating things and still releasing them into theaters, but because their main business is streaming, I wonder if this the death knell for like DCU films in the theater? Are we just going to get streaming stuff now? Which
he said the Netflix president, I can't remember his name, Tony.
Reed, somebody.
Ted, yeah, he said that. I think they're going to basically shorten the theater window. So it's sort of like what they're doing with what's the detective movie that's out in theaters right now? That's
the Knives Out.
The Knives Out. So I think it was going to be like, I think most of the movies are going to feel like those Knives Out movies, where it's just going to be like you're in theaters for 2 weeks and then it's Netflix.
All right.
I'm not looking forward to this. This is a total bust. I feel like we've put so much entertainment in the hands of two giant companies. And if anyone can relate to it, it's going to be comic book fans, because we've had the big two for a long time. So especially like growing up, like just Marvel and DC. So like we've essentially created that in movies now. So you have two people that are going to be responsible for the majority of the films that will be in theaters. The majority of entertainment you consume will be decided by two people. I mean, that's just wild, because Netflix has already said that they make entertainment to be a part of a second screen world. So they dumb down their entertainment. And that's what I hate about Netflix, is the dumbing down, the mediocre action that they've done. I mean, look at the crap that they've put out, and then go, now you add in DC stuff and that's the bar. Like, I'm really worried about like dumbing down or any Netflix input on DC Studios whatsoever, because they could dumb it down to make it like a second screen type thing. And I just don't want to hear everything explained to me while I'm watching a Superman movie.
So you say we're definitely going back to the Snyderverse then?
Hey, don't. With this deal, there's a chance. With this deal, there's a chance. I mean, everything seems to be available, and I think if DC Studios could be successful, why not? I mean, it just depends on what the numbers get, and if they already have a Zack Snyder relationship with his last project there. What is it called?
Well, yeah, but they've been canceling every one of Snyder's projects recently, every single one. So sorry, Danny.
No, I like it. I mean, listen, I'm all for Rebel Moon. I mean,
you're the one reader of that comic. You're one comic Catholic out there, and you are the.
If that gets me to get Gail Simone on the show, that's how we're gonna do it, all right?
Hey. So what are the numbers for the Rebel Moon comic? Like, how many people have that pulled at Boomerang?
When it first came out, we had like 3, but they've done like 2 other series, if I'm not mistaken. And only the first one had polls. And I guess I forget who the publisher was. It was like Titan. Avatar. It was Titan.
Yeah.
Titan. Okay.
I'm pulling that comic somewhere else, but yes, I am reading it.
I mean, aside from Conan, 3 pulls for a Titan comic are pretty good, at least at my store. And so, but the other 2 series that followed the first one did not have any pulls. So,
oh wow, interesting. Okay,
we do have a comment from Leonard Kim, real quick. I could be totally wrong, but I think people are overreacting about theatrical releases. Netflix has never had properties like Warner Brothers Discovery. It's optimism, but I do think Netflix will adapt. I agree. I mean, it's not like they're gonna. I wouldn't see them just leaving money on the table. Where like they can have their cake and eat it too. They can leave a movie in the theaters and then just release it on streaming, because people that will go to the theaters, they'll go to the theaters regardless. I think, like, you know,
I do wonder if I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but my brain.
But you did, so go ahead.
But I did, so go ahead. But are you guys interested in going to the Netflix house that they have in Dallas?
Oh, yeah. I am. I actually, when my daughter comes home for college, I'm going to propose we go check it out.
Except for the fact that it's at the Galleria and it's going to be super packed. That's my main concern.
Yeah, during the holidays.
Yeah, but I feel
wonder
like
if it's.
Oh, sorry.
If it's not a test, for them to go, since there's no law about this anymore, for them to open up their own theaters. If it's not a test to see if they can generate people to come out,
but that's illegal.
And enjoy their stuff, and not anymore.
Yeah, but see, that was part of the code, was that you couldn't own theaters, or put movies out into your own theaters. That was part of the original production law, I think, back in.
Yeah, but
that law's gone, right? Because Sony owns the Alamo.
That law's gone because Sony owns the Alamo.
And so now we're seeing why that law existed.
But yeah, because Netflix has a couple of theaters, I think, where they release their stuff, so they're they qualify for Oscars and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this obviously still has to go through a lot of stuff. Like they estimate 12 to 18 months at least in anything happening. So don't worry, your HBO is not going anywhere. You're not getting a Sopranos with additional scenes of somebody explaining what just happened. Although,
damn it.
That would be very funny to watch, like The Wire over-explained, you know.
Like they just insert new characters.
Pop-up videos.
No, it's like they put in a new scene with a character that's like, can you believe that that just happened? Like just talking to his friend or something like that.
Like have the Stranger Kids explain the Oz,
yeah.
Like those,
Stranger Things. What are the Muppets at the theater that are in the balcony? It's just those guys.
Stadler and Waldorf.
Yeah, because they own the Muppets, right? They had Benoit Blanc visited Sesame Street the other day.
Oh my god! No, I don't think they do anymore, because I think the deal with HBO ended and it reverted back to PBS.
So
Netflix picked up Netflix picked up Sesame Street. Muppets.
Oh,
Disney
did they?
Oh, that's separate. Okay, yeah.
I should have done my research. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna keep making shit up. I'm like the American government.
From what I've read, the basis of the deal is it is the streaming service that they've purchased and a ton of IP that includes Harry Potter and DC Studios. So with those two, like they're like in the beginnings of huge productions to start like a reboot the Harry Potter universe and DC Studios. Like, what is their take? Are they going to disrupt what's already started? I'm very curious to see like what they're going to jump into that's already been going, because they could kill those projects, and that's a ton of money. And again, it could just be like we're getting into the the $1 billion business where you could write off $1 million movies because it makes financial sense for these companies that are this big. Like we've seen it with Batgirl. What are we going to see it with next? What if they just cancel Harry Potter because they say like, we don't feel like it's a good vibe, and then just scrap it?
Harry Potter's been canceled for a while, so
yeah, I know. To me, they legitimately should worry about that. If they want to do any deal, the smartest deal they could do is just buy her out 100%. That property's not going anywhere while she owns it.
I'll say this about Netflix. they never throw anything away. They put everything out. They leave it all on the field, so they could bring back out from the vault.
Leonard Kim is right about something though. They've never had properties this big before, and Netflix historically has like put out things that they don't know is going to hit, and then they're caught with their proverbial pants down trying to scramble to get merch out and stuff. I mean, it happened with Stranger Things, it happened with Wednesday, it happened with whatever the three singing girls fighting
K-pop demon hunters.
K-pop demon hunters things.
Which I hear is amazing.
It's so good.
It's really good. It's really good.
I didn't think I would like it. And then I was like, oh wait, it's Sony Animation, like the Spider-Verse team. I'm like, okay. Then just the more I heard about it, the more I was like, all right, I'll
really
give it a shot.
This will be the first time that this will be the first time they've ever had stuff that comes with already pre-packaged in with the deal. All the merch already there for them. I think this is something that they've never had to deal with before on this kind of level.
Well, don't they still own the Mark Miller universe?
I thought so. But that all went tits up. I mean, they did 2-3 things and then that's it. I mean,
the deal with Millar was interesting because it was like only new stuff that he was bringing in, not stuff like all the stuff prior was already being put out by a lot of, like his stuff from before. So it was really the Millar World imprint, whatever kind of like going forward, that's kind of what they own. And, they adapted at least 2 or 3 of his Jupiter's Legacy world. There's like 2 or 3 shows about that. Like one of them is animated, but yeah, it'll be weird to see what happens for sure.
That's their biggest problem is their stuff gets lost. Their platform is so huge. Everything gets lost on Netflix. Only the little bitty things get put to the top. There's so much stuff on there. It's almost impossible to.
Yeah, and we only have so many hours in the week to watch movies on this, but I guarantee you, with the addition of the WB library, that subscription price will double or triple.
Well, and did they also, like, as part of this deal, are they going to get like HBO Max? Like, is that just going to go away? Or are they going to wrap it in?
Yeah, the streaming services and a ton of IPs.
Okay, so I wonder if they're going to temper that inevitable price rise by keeping HBO Max as a separate section and you subscribe to both. Right, sort of like the whole like Disney Plus, like, oh, here's the bundle. You get ESPN, you get National Geographic.
But Hulu eventually got pulled into the.
I know, but I mean, because can you imagine them trying to wrap all of that content into the blanket Netflix library? Like, that's going to be a freaking nightmare. So I wonder if it's going to have its own little like section of Netflix to stream on,
or a special data center that opens up somewhere. It just is like Netflix mega movieplex, and it's just hard drives.
We're gonna walk into Netflix house, and it's just like racks. That's it, So
yeah, it's just like they should open something like you could go rent a movie, like a Netflix movie or a TV show,
and then they should actually send you the physical DVDs. That's an amazing idea. Why didn't they think to do that?
I think I solved Netflix's problem. Yeah.
We got to go to the gallery and like, why is the ice rink melted? Well, the data center for the Netflix
house. They should flat out open rental places and call them not Blockbuster and just slap Blockbuster in the face. I mean, that just would be the most insulting thing to open up a rental place after you consumed Blockbuster the way you did.
We'll keep an eye on this deal, see what happens. We did get other news that are also very relevant to this show. Maybe I don't know if they're happier news or not, but it seems like Scarlet Johansson is joining the cast of the Batman 2 in an unspecified role. Let's talk about who she could probably be, because there's not that many options.
You don't think Batmite's an option? You don't think her voice work could do Batmite
for the voice?
I don't think she's crazy enough to be Batmite.
I think. I mean, Poison Ivy is the obvious guess.
Oh, I don't want her as Poison. Well, I guess I could see her as Poison Ivy.
I feel like it wouldn't. I don't know if it works in this version of the Batman. A lot of the stuff I saw was Andrew Beaumont from the Phantasm, which is like,
yeah.
Now that would be fucking awesome because we've never had a live action Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
And Reeves did say that the villain of part 2 would be a character who has not been seen in live action like often, or there was like a specification at the very end of that sentence where it's like, oh, like they might have been in like a CW thing or
Gorilla Grodd.
Oh,
he did do that.
We did see Gorilla Grodd in the Flash and the CW, all right?
In the CW Flash, and he did all the Apes movies. So like, why not? Bring some of that over into the, and then ScarJo can just wear the motion capture. And, she's playing against type like she loves to do.
What's a French gorilla's name?
Monsieur.
What if
Mahala?
Mahala?
Okay.
What if we finally get she's not a villain? What if we finally get the live action Batman? Who's the Inspector Chimp?
Detective Chimp.
Yeah. What if she mocaps Detective Chimp and voices Detective Chimp? Now that I would be on board for.
Well, I will say that I have rewatched the new Jurassic Park that she's in like 3 or 4 times this week, and I think she's enjoyable. But Gareth Edwards kind of redoes that entire franchise and makes it enjoyable again. And I was just like, okay, well, I would watch her in Batman. I would watch her in Bad Night.
You watched that movie 3 or 4 times this week?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I like the movie enough. I don't know that I would watch it multiple times.
Well, it's like I put it on in the background, just and then I was just like, oh, well, this is kind of good. And then I started to watch it. I was like, all right, well, I'll put it on again. And then I started watching like all the Jurassic Park films.
Okay.
I still won't watch the Chris Pratt ones because those are shit. But
so
she makes them entertaining.
I do wonder, what if we do get her as
Phantasm?
No, as Barbara Gordon. Because we have...
Oh, no.
I don't think they would do that. Not for the Batman.
Also, I mean, could she be Jeffrey Wright's daughter?
I'm just saying she's Barbara Gordon.
Could ScarJo play Jeffrey Wright's daughter? That's what you got to keep in mind.
I mean,
could she be a non-Batwoman Kate Kane?
That'd be cool. But I don't know if it would work in this universe, but it would be cool. I almost wish that was its own thing.
Distant cousin.
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, wasn't the Phantasm more than one person?
It was that was the animated Batwoman in one of the other animated movies.
It was a direct-to-video one. It was like Mystery of the Batwoman, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mask of the Phantasm 2. Back at it again.
Back at it again.
But no, the twist with Phantasm was that it was Andrea because everyone assumed it's this like new guy and
a lady could never.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here's my dream casting if we're getting a live action Phantasm. Go ahead, cast ScarJo to be once the mask comes off, but the voice the entire time is still Dana Delaney. Just the entire time.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do like that Jack just kind of pointed out that the twist of the Phantasm was just misogyny.
Yep,
not wrong.
Same with Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Sweet old ladies can be serial killers too. Mm-hmm. Come on, guys.
Cool. All
right. That's why I always suspect a sweet old lady.
Yeah.
Did Psycho teach us nothing?
Yeah, watch out for Thelma too. Well, we got through the news. Well, the important news, I guess, at least for us. We don't cover the other news. Let's talk about how we can not fix comics, but at least recognize what publishers are doing right and wrong. Now, I have some stuff on my notes. I'm sure you guys have your own things. But I want to hear, let's start with Jack, because I do want to hear from the, management side of actually running a comic shop. which is probably the first pain point. Maybe not the first, maybe at least for the consumer. And not that comic shops are a pain point, it's just that you guys kind of take the brunt of it and try to filter it down and facilitate for the consumers. But and I want to start off on a positive note. So, Jack, what do you think the comic publishers are doing right?
At the moment, DC is killing it. Like, I don't think that's a hot take to say.
We haven't been on TikTok long enough.
Well, I'm not on comic TikTok. I am on every other comic social, but TikTok is my like safe space from comic stuff. But
good for you.
Yeah. I feel like DC is just killing it though. Like, I think for the first time in a while, they have more books in the top 10 than Marvel, and Marvel still has like more books in the top 50, I think. But
yeah, in November, 9 out of the top 10 books were DC Comics. I think the only one that squeezed in there for Marvel, to my surprise, really was Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay, well,
Amazing, quick, not Ultimate.
How many were number ones though? I'm always curious. Like, if
maybe DC. No, DCKO was number 2 because it was for November 2025. So
okay, I was.
Yeah. They didn't have a lot of number ones that month, which I found very interesting. That Spider-Man, Amazing, not Ultimate. It's mind blowing, Jack. It was weird.
Ultimate Spider-Man outsells Amazing, at least in my shop, by double.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And so there are things that are going to be unique to my shop, and then there's some stuff that I just kind of assume is on at least a national level or something, but plus or minus a couple numbers here and there. But
here's what I have for from Comic Hub. Number 1, I guess this one's kind of a mix. It's Batman Deadpool number 1. Batman number 3 was number 2. Absolute Batman number 3, the latest one, 14. So that's 3 Batman titles, really. Then
DCKO, under 5 issues, like the third issue. I mean, I know there's a second issue drop off, but I figured that at least the first 6 issues of a comic sell well, especially Batman.
DCKO Night Fight number 4, DCKO number 2, number 5. Oh, this is very confusing to read out loud. Somehow Batman 162, The Hush continues. That was number 6. This is it's very surprising. Absolute Batman, the annual, was number 8, and then Amazing Spider-Man number 15, where they reveal whatever that suit is. That was number 9, and then Wonder Woman. So it's really just Batman, the big DC event, and then Spider-Man and Wonder Woman at the top of the list. So
Absolute Wonder Woman?
Absolute Wonder Woman, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I know James Gunn said he wasn't that involved with the comic side, but that they still talk to each other and that sort of thing. But maybe whatever notes he gave him were enough to really give him a boost. I mean, Scott Snyder's back at the helm. Dan DiDio's gone, and it seems like the publisher now is in full swing, and they're not playing damage control or cleanup anymore. And because after Future State, it felt very much like we hired all these people and now we're going in a different direction. This finally feels like we're past all that, and we're okay, this is our direction that we want to do, and we're gonna go with it.
I do find it very interesting that back in the day, a lot of people were crapping on oh, Dan DiDio and Jim Lee need to leave. And only one of them left, and somehow maybe it wasn't both of them,
Mm-hmm. No, I was on the Dan DiDio needs to leave train. Get that guy out of there. He was just too mean to the Titans. He's too mean to the legacy characters.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody want to give us something?
And Jack's dog agrees with me.
Yeah.
Does anybody have something else that's right with the comics? And doesn't have to be specifically DC, just whatever you guys want to talk about.
Compact editions.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
From both publishers. I would actually love if hey, Image, get on this train. Come on.
Oh my god.
Well, they kind of are.
Are they? Oh, awesome.
So they're not calling them like compacts or anything, but they're like, I don't even know what their price difference is, but get down.
The image trades have always been priced well. So like Marvels are like $30, $40, $50, like insane. But the Image ones have always kept right about the $10, $12 mark. Like
they held off the volume 1 at $10. They held it off as long as they probably could financially. Obviously because of inflation and other things. It probably doesn't make sense. But even then, I think Power Fantasy, they're one of their biggest hits most recently. The volume 1 was still, they went back to the $10 price.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I was in my shop yesterday and saw that that same format's being done by Vault, because they put out they put out a Money Shot collection that was that size.
Oh, is that what they're calling them?
Yeah, right.
No,
they should. That's brilliant.
The Money Shot edition.
Money Shot edition.
Why is everything sticky?
I do. I mean, but like, I want other publishers, if they can make it financially viable, to get into this, because think of like the back catalog of Dark Horse. And if they could release these, because again, my daughter is obsessed with these compact editions. She loves them, and for her, it's an inexpensive way to get into classic stuff that otherwise would be really difficult to get into unless you buy it digitally. And she prefers to read the physical thing. So can you imagine like the back catalog of like Dark Horse being like, hey, here's all of like Ghost, and here's all of Sin City, and here's all of,
Hellboy.
Just Mike Mignola throwing Hellboys out his building. Just it's almost as if they saw a successful thing and they're like, oh, we should try that.
Right.
Well, that's what I was gonna. So I was watching a TikTok to inform Jack about comic book TikTok that compared like the westernized comics are dwarfed by manga, like manga, and then American young adult comics that are like, made for teens and stuff like that. All those sales just absolutely dwarf, Marvel and DC stuff. And I think it's because of accessibility. Like in Japan, they literally do just throw manga at you. Like it's so cheap out there, and they've got those Shoshin magazines that have a whole bunch of stuff, like from the public, and you can still get modern like comics in those things, and those things are super cheap. The Shoshin Jump magazines, and they're thick.
To be fair, the paper quality is garbage because I have a few of those Japanese magazines. The paper quality,
I think, but they're not meant for collectibles. They're meant for reading the thing, and I feel like American comics have delved so much into, which is kind of weird, because you say the paper quality, but Marvel's paper quality is trash. And I have so many ripped Marvel comics from like just the middle pages being so flimsy that the staple pops out and stuff. But that stuff, the Shoshin Jump, like that's just out there to get readers. Like, go get your readers, go get your coin. And we don't really have anything like that for American comics.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit when DC put comics in Walmart, and they were doing, it was a
I remember that.
Yeah, I want to say it was like a $10 thing.
The 100-page collectible.
Yeah, 100-page collectible. Yeah, and it would have 3 old stories and 1 new one.
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't put them anywhere else, and I think they try to push the digital more than anything. But yeah, you just can't find without going to a comic book shop. You have to pretty much go there.
Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was gonna say, and I mean, and kind of in that same realm, something I feel like is going right, but also terribly wrong, is Marvel's including a digital code in most issues. On one hand, as a consumer, I love it. Right, like. Again, just the other day, my daughter's reading the new Cap series, and she told me to look for issue 3. And I came into my office here, and I just had the print copy on my desk, and so I just gave her the print one, saying, "I've already grabbed the digital code. I'll read it on the app." So it's it's advantageous that way, but it is kind of like the snake eating its own tail, right? Like, where does this end? I feel like Marvel made a decision years ago to start including digital codes for issues because they saw the shift to digital happening, and then jump ahead like 15 years. They're like, oh fuck, we can't get out of this now, right? Because if we do, it's going to piss off everyone. You know?
Well, I mean, what I see in digital codes, like, because just of the few books that I get, like Moon Knight, you get a digital code and then you'll have issues that are missing, so that it forces you, if you want to complete your collection, to go buy those. So they kind of do it to you, and I hate that, because it's like, if you get dependent on them, you know, good luck. Because for a long time I could only read them digitally, and then now I can read the physical book, so I'm not so concerned about it. But when I go back and try to redeem them, and you see how many are missing in your collection, it makes you want to go fill those in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, I'll do one more right thing, and then we can go into our complaints, because I feel like that's where we're gonna have a big thing, and then we'll close out with some more things that they're doing right, to like a compliment sandwich to the comic industry. I think that the emergence of these publishers, these small publishers, and them just kind of doing different things. Like right now, I'm wearing my Ignition Press shirt. I got this on their Black Friday sale.
Awesome.
Ignition Press is one of those new, like, they launched this year, and they already have like, I don't know, 4 or 5 series. And Jack, I'll get your numbers for Ignition Press in a second to see if anybody's ordering, but I like their stuff. I think Jack's like, Ignition who?
I mean, I see them pop up on the FOC, but you might have to give me some titles, because I don't think I order a lot from them.
But I like their stuff. They did ash cans for most of their books, and they just sent them to comic shops for, so they could pass them out.
Okay, that one said on when I checked out yesterday, I saw those, so that popped in my head of like, these books look interesting, and didn't know anything about them, so I'm glad you're talking about them.
The Murder Podcast is one of their books, I think. Is that right?
Oh, that's one of theirs. Okay, I just saw that.
Deluge. I think that's how you say that. What's the David Baldeón, Leah Williams book? It's actually going to second print. Voyeur. Yeah, so it's like that 90s thriller of like, that sexy thriller. So they're doing different stuff, but they're getting, and it's by I think James Rich started that, who used to be an editor at I think one of the big two, and then they kind of went
Jamie Rich.
Jamie Rich, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, there's some pedigree there, but they're doing some really interesting stuff. Their books are really, like, they're nice, they're quality, they're priced the same, and they come out. I think the only part right now is going to have to be like, how do we get people reading these? And I think when they get to the collections, that's probably where they're going to hit. So yeah, I like that. I mean, Vault's doing some crazy things. They were giving out free number ones for a while, which feels insane to me, but I was like, all right. They've teamed up with Post Malone to give you big ring. Hey,
stunt writing.
All right, he's doing
stunt
writing
already.
I mean, in that same vein, I want to shout out to Ahoy Comics, because I feel like they've been putting out some amazing stuff that has gone mostly under the radar, except for Babs. I think Babs was kind of their biggest breakout hit, but I love, I mean, again, Guilt. What's the other one that team just did?
They have the Second Coming as well, with the Superman meets Jesus comic.
Russell, what's his name?
Mark Russell.
Mark Russell. Yeah.
Which for some reason DC turned that down, which is insane to me.
Yeah. What? Why? Why would they turn that down?
That feels like the most Vertigo book that ever existed.
I guarantee there is a similar spec script by either Alan Moore or Peter Milligan, like back in the 90s.
There's a Swamp thing that's coming out later next year, right? Where he
Dan DiDio. That's why.
Yeah, Dan DiDio.
There you go. Yeah.
I guess that would have been during his tenure. Yes.
I can't believe they gave him hundreds of years.
Who treated religion more harsh, like Ennis and Preacher, or in this Second Coming book? So, look,
I think Second Coming not really a critique of religion. It's just more like Jesus is a superhero, kind of.
Well,
it's fun.
Did we read that? Did we read that for the Boomerang Comic Club?
I think we did. I know I've read it.
Yeah, I don't think it's super hyper critical. I think it's more critical of the people who are, the Bible thumper kind of people who are.
It's critical of the people, not the religion.
Yeah.
So, because Jesus. It also kind of explores superheroes from a moral stance too, because there's one point where not Superman stops a mugger or bank robber or whatever, and he breaks his leg in the process, and Jesus heals him. He heals the mugger, and he gets up and runs away. And not Superman is like, dude, why did you do that? And Jesus was like, dude, he was hurt. I helped. That's what I do. Do you know who you're talking to? And so you do get some good moral.
That's the best pitch I've heard for that book ever, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's me, Jesus, baby. Come on, it's what I do. All right.
Do you know who my dad is?
Yeah. Jesus Christ,
will hear about this.
All right. Now, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's wrong and inconsistent with the industry. I'm gonna go back to Jack because I'm sure he deals with all this stuff. Because you have to order books on a weekly basis, I imagine, right? Months in advance. That throws a lot of wrenches into the workings of it, because then you're just also guessing at what So what are some of the things that these publishers are doing wrong that would help you guys out at the shop or as a consumer?
Can I ask real quick? Have they delayed Youngblood #2 yet?
I think the delay came before the first
put it on order.
I believe
that doesn't mean anything yet.
And I will say, to Rob's credit, that book is the #1 selling book for November for Image.
I was shocked to hear that.
That is mind blowing.
I have a copy.
Yeah, me too. Because they made a manga once. I was like, for kids, Youngblood for kids.
Yes, Rob Liefeld for kids.
All right, sorry, Jack. Let's go back.
Oh, good. I mean, in terms of ordering, I feel like there's always gonna be something. There's never gonna be a best option. You're always gonna have gaps somewhere. But it does, whenever a book gets delayed, everyone's like, hey, what about this? Or whenever there's 2 Batman titles going on at the moment, and that really confused a lot of people, because they were like, wait, I knew Fractions was coming, but Hush 2 is still going.
Good thing Dark Patterns ended, because people would have lost their shit.
But there's 43 Batmans you have to order.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, sorry, and then Hush 2 is getting delayed and pushed into next year now. March is when the last issue's coming out, and I get that this is kind of a one-off type mistake, but it's still something that's been very confusing to even people who have been reading comics for ages and stuff. And it feels like unless you're in the know and on all the socials, then you might just not come across this information. And so delays are always kind of a nuisance. And then
I want to ask too, has the kind of decentralization of ordering, the fact that you don't have to get everything from Diamond anymore, is that better or worse or the same?
I love it.
Okay. Monopolies are bad. Got it.
Monopolies are bad. Yes. Now, if I were a publisher, I would let anyone distribute. That's just me. But imagine if DC and Marvel were both at Lunar and Penguin. If I'm Penguin, I'd be like, oh, hey, comic shop, here's a discount if you order X number from me and not them. Or if I'm the other distributor, I'd be like, oh, but if you order from us, you get this exclusive variant. So
yeah,
I understand wanting exclusive contracts, and I'm glad to have. It still feels like a monopoly because we can only get DC from Lunar, and we can only get Marvel from Penguin. And so, and I guess our shop personally much prefers Lunar. We have like damaged stuff arrive quite more frequently from Penguin than from Lunar, and so
I've seen the way, like, because sometimes I'm at one of the shops when they're putting stuff, and it's like they literally just put comics in a box. There's no protection around it. There's nothing. And I mean, it is, like 30 comics stacked together are stronger than just the one, but like the one on the top and the one on the bottom are kind of taking the brunt of the, that's a big risk for at least 2 of your books in the box. So it's pretty wild the way they package comic books. Especially for an industry that values the collectability of the product.
I wonder if Lunar had Penguin is very much a book publishing company. I'm wondering if they published a lot of magazines beforehand, or distributed a bunch of magazines beforehand, or if Lunar, or like if they have just more going into these distribution deals, had more dealings with better equipped to publish, comics, or to ship comics, as opposed to like hardback books are kind of sturdy. You just, you wrap them in paper or whatever.
So it's funny you say that, because when Penguin first got Marvel, books were arriving damaged left and right, like entire boxes of stuff. We'd pull it out and just everything had a dent in it. And we were like, yo, y'all have to fix this if you're gonna carry Marvel stuff, because we cannot sell these. And for their first month, they issued refunds left and right, because we had to, and we had already made our final orders by then. And so we had to reorder from Diamond and basically hope that we got it in time for Penguin while Penguin was figuring out how to repackage their comics, because they package them just like any other paperback book, and they're not meant to ship that way. So I don't want to hate on Penguin. Like there are good things about Penguin, but especially at the start there, it was
like my shop. I hear Aaron, complain about Marvel, the damage, and just the history and stuff. And is it just he had a contact that he would at Marvel to kind of fix some of his stuff. He goes, I would sometimes just not get a call back, or I just wait. Do you have a contact like that? Like, is it hard to get somebody there?
When I have issues, I have to go to Penguin, not like anyone at Marvel or anything. Penguin is pretty good about responding in time. But normally, like once a week, we'll get probably 2 or 3 damages, and that's not gonna set us back any. But I just go on the website, report, hey, we got them damaged, and then they send them if they can, just ASAP. Which that's another thing they could do better is with Lunar, they wait and send everything out as one big chunk of an order once a week. With Penguin, they ship everything out as you order it. And so I will tell them, hey, we got like 3 damaged books, and they send them in this kind of flimsy they send the replacements in these kind of flimsy cardboard things, because it's only 3 books. And then these are
damaged too.
Yes. And I'm like, just put it in a bigger box. I can wait. The customer's already gonna be here next week. Also, like, I appreciate the fast turnaround time, but like, these are now damaged also.
Have you heard of a bubble mailer?
Yeah,
but to be fair, it is just penguins working there. They're just birds.
Oh yeah,
just flightless.
What I was picturing was the penguin at the iceberg lounge in his office, trying to fulfill all these orders.
Okay, I do have a question because I am curious. Just talking about like when we were talking about like tie-ins and things that kind of bring non-comic book people into your store. What are the things the publishers are doing that are successful? Have you seen anything bring in non-comic book people and then like start a pull list?
Yeah, the Absolute line has been like phenomenal at that. We have so many people who are subscribed to just Absolute Batman. And then I feel like we're kind of at a turnaround point where comics are really bringing in a lot of new people again.
Oh, cool.
And so I don't have a lot of examples, but just watching what DC is doing, if Marvel can capture that same synergy, and I don't know if this like Chip Zdarsky event will succeed in doing that. I'm not hating on Chip Zdarsky. I just don't think the same hype is behind this Marvel event as there was for the Absolute stuff. But I mean, it's a great jumping in point for new readers, and it's actually, it marketed itself as such. And even with like Fractions Batman #1, it's like, yeah, you don't need anything, but everything that came before still happened and that sort of thing. With the Absolute stuff, you don't. It's literally a brand spanking new, fresh start with a fresh take. The characters are different enough that people are excited to figure out what's new, but they're not so different that they're unrecognizable. But like, even with Marvel's new Ultimate, you kind of had to read Cates' Venom and all the, like, maybe even Secret Wars 2015, you could argue. And so even Marvel's new fresh take universe was still burdened by stuff that came before it.
Yeah, I felt like this.
Yeah,
imagine the Spider-Man book had the most, and the X-Men book had the least. It felt like.
I think. I mean, I'm assuming Spider-Man's the biggest seller for the Ultimate line, as you mentioned. How's X-Men doing? Because that one's so different. That one could be its own thing, standalone. Like, it's only Ultimate in the name, really. I think, as far as like a Marvel book, it feels like Peach Momoko doing her own thing, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll eventually, when I'm done with 24, you guys can do whatever you want with the X-Men."
So I feel like X-Men is one of the best reviewed ones.
Yeah.
But it is probably the lowest sale-wise, which I would say the same about Absolute Wonder Woman. Like, the people that read it, it's their favorite, like, Absolute title. But at least of the Trinity, Absolute Wonder Woman does sell the least. And
the plot twist there is also misogyny.
Yes. And I mean, to give you a perspective of where DC's at, I'm not really a Wonder Woman fan myself. I always try it when a new team comes in, and I've always felt kind of just like bored and uninterested with the character.
Yeah.
And I am currently pulling 2 Wonder Woman books at the moment, just because, one, I do enjoy Tom King for the most part, and I do like his take on Wonder Woman. But what Kelly Thompson's doing with Absolute is so different and cool, and it's like, oh, I have like all the confusing stuff about her origin is just gone.
Yeah.
We have one clear origin for this version of Diana. You don't need anything else. You don't have to worry about, wait, is she Clay this time? Is she not? Like it's just streamlined. And so I have, yeah. I'm very pleased to be enjoying 2 Wonder Woman books at the exact same time. So.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
It's so
very
different
cool.
too. That's so cool.
Mhm.
You know what DC does that I enjoy, that probably brings people into the comic shop, is that when they were doing this, all the trailers that they dropped at the movies, they would be like, hey, this is based on these books that you can go to your local comic shop and find. And so not only is it like Superman's based on a comic, go to your comic shop, but it's like, go to your comic shop and look for this one book. Like now you know what to ask for specifically. You can go All-Star Superman is what I'm looking for, because that's what James Gunn told me this movie that I loved is based on, you know.
Yeah. Everything that he listed actually brought like even beyond Superman, because he put out his like 10 most essential whatever that list was, and like
gateway graphic novels to get into the
DC.
Oh yeah.
And it had like Tom Strong on there. And that's out of print. And I'm like, hey James, you probably should have made sure that these were all good before.
Hey James, you run that list by marketing.
I'd order it because you told people to go buy it, but I can't.
Back issues, baby. Sell those back issues.
Would have been a quick email to marketing, like, hey, are these books?
Those Tom Strong issues are hard to find. I've looked for them before. They're hard to put together.
Well, if you can't find those, you can go and check out our list, because we made our own list with books that are mostly available in print still.
A while back, Jeff and I were actually talking about like DC and Marvel books that they should always have in print. And I feel like we got like 30-ish in for Marvel and DC. And we're like, yeah, like this book should just never go out of print. And yeah, so
that's a good show.
I think they should.
We'll save that for next time Jack comes to visit.
I have a real quick question. Have publishers ever done anything that you've seen where you've had a mass drop on a book, like where that Wednesday everyone kind of came in and said, drop this book because of this reason?
No. If anything, controversy
Superboy
sells.
has a boyfriend? You drop that in.
Hydra Cap.
I see Nightwing's ass too much.
Not enough.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that's only on the internet, of the people yelling at nothing.
Right.
And it doesn't really reflect on the shops.
Yeah, controversy sells. And so even if someone drops it out of anger, 5 more people are going to want to buy it to spec on it and hope it goes up. And
what was the rush like for the Batman penis comic? What was the
that had a high demand. Everyone wanted some more Batarang, you know.
That way.
Bat pull.
Yeah. I have now Josh used to work at a store too, and I have some generic store questions, not necessarily about. I know we were supposed to focus in on the publishing, but worst day in the store.
Oh God!
Like over the week, Wednesday.
This might out me.
There's got to be a nightmare, because everybody who has a retail, because it's basic. I mean, everybody loves to work at a comic shop, but still at the end of the day, it's retail.
It was the day after Liefeld dropped. The day after Liefeld dropped his Levi's ad.
Yeah. For Josh. Yeah, we had to start selling Levi's.
I guess related to publishing, like not just in general. Worst day. Weirdly, it was not comics related. I was working in the store when the phenomenon of Magic the Gathering being released came out. And for the first, I mean, it was such a big seller and a big deal. We couldn't keep it in stock. And there was a period where when the first expansion, Arabian Nights, came in, we and of course all of us working at the store also love the game, so we're like begging the owner, can we just squirrel aside like 3 packs, you know, or whatever. And he had to like limit it for us, he had to limit it for customers, we had to watch them like hawks. It was insane. I've never seen that much madness around a release before. So not exactly comics, but
yeah,
adjacent.
Oh, I love it.
Most of my issues are card based, also.
Interesting. All right, interesting.
Yeah.
Those
Do you guys have Pokemon packs?
Card people.
How many of those calls do you get on that weekend of release?
Oh
it depends, but we still get calls about Riftbound.
That's a good.
We got like one box from the distributor, and it was just gone. I think like 2 people came in, and by the time the first person had gone, we were like, oh, he didn't buy it all, and then the second person cleared us out.
He probably called his buddy, hey, they got more packs.
yeah, exactly.
But if I had to pick a bad comic book day, honestly, retailers. I was not the manager of the shop when DC Rebirth happened.
Oh boy!
But I do know a lot of retailers were worried that it was going to be like the New 52. And yes, there was more hype, and that's another thing, is it is a little easier to gauge hype with the internet now, but sometimes it is just people on the internet, and so we massively underestimated DC Rebirth at the time. And I wouldn't say we had a lot of angry people, but we probably could have had almost every number 1 sold out on day 1. So like within a few hours. So yeah.
That's interesting, because yeah, like I want to say, like, what's the worst customer you've had in a comic book store? Because that's the most first world problem a guy could have.
We've had some weird ones.
I mean, it is a comic book store.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We had this one guy. I didn't know his name, but he was. I wasn't the manager yet, and he would just like nitpick everything in the store, and like we keep our Detective Comics in the B's, right? It's under Batman Detective Comics, Batman. And he was like, why? Yeah, and he was like, why isn't Detective Comics in the D's? And I'm like, because it's with the Batman stuff, dude. And he came in with the fake lightsaber on it, like just the hilt. There wasn't even a blade on it, and he was walking around like trying to flash it and everything. And I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Wow. Now we are in Texas, so it is an open carry state.
He was allowed to including lightsabers.
Yeah, I think you can carry a sword out in the open too, based on a law from a few years ago. So.
And someone even just casually mentioned Star Wars too, and he like walks up to him and he's like, check the hip, and I'm like,
oh my god,
wow, dude. So
check
the hip. He nitpicked almost everything in the store and was just like an egotistical asshole. But I was like, wow.
In comics, never.
Yeah. Well, so exactly in comics.
Do you guys do the thing? So again, to Jeff's question earlier, typically the worst days in the store when I worked there is every one of us had a customer that we dreaded. And so we would get each other's back. So if I was working the front desk or the counter, and I saw my buddy Mike's dreaded customer park and start to walk up, I would just get on the intercom like, Mike, stay in the back, and then just like
as we go, hoo
you're just kind of running interference for them. Do you guys still do that? Like,
yeah,
nice.
Most of our problem customers, we call them guys. And so we have like a Monday guy who's always like in on a Monday, and not always, but he earned the nickname Monday guy. And
wait
so
a minute, I always go on Mondays. What are you saying?
We have a guy called Snack Guy, and not all of them are like the worst person in the world, but there's something weird and quirky about him, and I just don't like him.
Yeah.
Like a Snack Guy was there for like 3 hours one time just eating. We had an event the day beforehand, and so we had snacks out, and he's just sitting there for 3 hours just pounding chip bag after chip bag, didn't buy anything for 3 hours, and he wasn't like rude or anything, but I'm like, you want to share, dude? Like, other people are in here. Like,
oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
I know it just sounded like you were describing a new version of Clerks.
Yeah, right, exactly. The milkmaids.
Hey, that's why they made that YouTube series, The Comic Shop, right? To focus on these little things. I do want to steer us back into, look, I could listen to Jack talk about bad customers all day.
And don't get me started on Daniel. Like,
damn it,
that Daniel guy.
Yeah, boy.
I heard he's great. I don't know what you're talking about.
He is. We all love Danny.
Yeah, that's right.
We call him Foil Cover Danny.
Hey, no one buys variants like this guy.
True. That is true.
I think so. Jack mentioned Star Wars earlier, and I think one of my biggest issues with publishers is not Star Wars itself, but the over reliance on the nostalgia. I think Marvel does this a lot more recently, where they're like, hey, that one story by Chris Claremont that was it was a pretty good story. How about we visit some of the things that may have happened in between? So they will publish like things that are like happening, like they'll just bring back original teams, or at least try to assemble as much as they can of the original team.
Yeah.
Just to give you another thing. And I just feel like, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure there's a market for those things, but I would rather just get new stories about these other things. Even if you do bring Chris Claremont back, just let him do other things. I'm sure he wants to write other things other than just like Kitty and Wolverine all the time or whatever.
But I'm sure they just look at it as a perspective of his name will sell a book regardless. Yeah. So we'll just put it on this and see how it does.
To kind of jump onto that, one of the things that bugs me about Marvel is I never feel like I have, as a reader, I don't have the faith in them to stick with something like a new thing. So like, sort of like this X-Men is a prime example of that. So we get done with the Age of Krakoa. There's this whole From the Ashes thing, and then they pivot from the ashes to whatever this revisit. It's not even an original idea. They're revisiting the Age of Apocalypse, and now that's about to end, so they can go back to the From the Ashes, and then that's going to end, and they're going to relaunch next year. And I'm just like, it's just relaunch after relaunch after relaunch. And then the titles that they have, like they had a Dazzler title that lasted 6 issues. They have these things where they're like, we're going to try it out, but we're not really going to try it out. We're just going to see. It's like they test sales all the time, but never for more than 5 or 6 issues. They never let anything get its feet under the ground.
Even if it's good and it sticks around, they keep renaming it. Like the Scarlet Witch has had 4 or 5 different. I think she's going to have her 5th title coming up soon because she's becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. Spoiler alert. But it's still by Steve Orlando. So he's been handled. Yeah, no, sorry, Clay. I know you.
I know that's actually a book we pull. So.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry about that. It's still a good story.
No, I look forward to getting there.
Yeah, but the fact that it's still Steve Orlando doing the writing on this character, So where they could be at a Scarlet Witch, I don't know, maybe 25 or something. Instead, they're like, oh yeah, we are at. I think the last
Volume
year
5,
was like,
issue 1.
yeah, Scarlet. Well, it's like Scarlet. They keep changing the name to like Scarlet Witch with different things. And then, like I said, now she's getting the Sorcerer Supreme book.
Yeah, if
so
it was an ongoing, I mean, she would be like at issue, I would think like 30 or 40 by now, because she's had, but that would also include Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which was a great.
Yep.
I mean, he's basically gone back through her history, reintroduced characters and what their connection is, and done a fantastic job. Like, I kind of love this reinvention, but it should all just be one arc, because it is like a reinvention of her entire history.
Yeah, I think Jeff and I were going through like pull lists and stuff, and we noticed that Marvel doesn't have many titles that go past 15, 20, maybe. Like the Avengers is probably one of the only ones.
They're written for the hardback.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man's getting there because it's like it triple ships or double ships every month. So of course,
what's the closest one to 6-7? What's the closest to 67?
Stop, you can't do that. We're gonna get demonetized. I do like that.
Inside.
Yeah, we finally completely killed whatever that 6-7 thing was. If it wasn't dead, the fact that it happened here.
Jimmy Fallon did it the other night, and he kills everything. So
final nail in the coffin. So
I'm here for it.
I agree with you, Jeff, but doesn't DC do the same thing? I mean, I don't have trust in either of the big two to stick with anything for a while. I mean, how many and this goes back to a complaint I've made on this show many, many times, which is I long for the day of the 80s comic where you could just go pick up an issue. It's a self-contained story. Like, everything is a 6 or increasingly 5-issue arc these days, right? And so how often are we like, okay, I'm going to read it. I'll just wait for the trade. Like, how are we, or how are they promoting comics as a serialized monthly thing if everything is an arc? You know,
but we're a victim of getting what we want, because if you know, back when you were working at those stores, Marvel didn't have a great graphic novel collection.
No, they didn't.
That's why you hunted back issues.
Yeah,
so like,
true.
I know I have some, you know, like stories you say that should always be in print. Like, there were just a handful of stuff that Marvel put out. So like, I had Dark Phoenix. I have like a Dark Phoenix collection because that was like the only X-Men collection that they had put out at the time. So. And then after that, From the Ashes. so it's funny to see From the Ashes return. But yeah, like I don't trust Marvel. I hate all the volumes. At one point, one of my goals was to collect every X-Men issue. But now, like, I know there's an end. I just know what it is. We're never going to get that issue, that comic book that runs 500 issues. I don't think we're going to get one that runs 100. I don't think, I mean, what's the longest running book that's out that isn't one of the premier titles at either place? Like a Batman, Cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
they just keep
Wonder Woman
stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Nightwing comes to mind.
Nightwing, yeah, that's a good
because that hasn't rebooted since Rebirth, but even like all of the main Trinity books are back to number 1.
Nightwing and World's Finest is probably one of the longest ones that they have, like going into the 40s.
Since Rebirth. Damn. All right.
Yeah, it's up to 150. No, I think 140 something.
Okay.
Nightwing.
Well, and here's also like a companion to my prior complaint, which is also counter the point I just made. But all of my favorite books right now about the big tentpole characters are the non-canonical stuff, right? Batman Dark Patterns. I'm reading Spider-Man Torn. Like, that stuff is really good. And often what happens is those creators are able to take the character in a way that I would love to see in the main story, but they can't do it because they have all this editorial oversight, right? And they're constantly rebooting shit. Like, look, I'm enjoying the Fraction Batman run, but why can't we just have a Batman line and maybe he's the new person they bring in for a brief period? Like, I don't understand, other than this, I think, constant FOMO fear of we always need to have a place for new readers to jump on.
Yeah.
I don't understand this constant desire to reboot everything.
It's the nightmare from the 90s that's still haunting us. It's the speculation market of what if this number one becomes the number one?
Right.
Because at that time you could buy a number one and in 2 weeks you could flip which at the time was like a $2 or $3 book and flip it for like 20 or 25.
Right.
So like people that buy number ones, like I mean, you probably have them in your store that just buy number ones of everything. And they have like a massive stack of books that they, because a gamble of $5 could turn into 100.
Yeah.
We have people that do that. Any first appearance, if they don't pull the book and there's a first appearance in that book, they'll still try and grab it. And so that is another thing that I try and keep an eye out for as a retailer is, does this book have a big thing that everyone's going to want? Do I need to order more than usual for this particular title? And one of the biggest burns we got was Amazing Spider-Man 25 and 26 in the Zeb Wells run, The Death of Kamala Khan. Because Marvel advertised it as, this is the next big thing. Like, you're going to want this book. And everyone was just like, nah.
and then like 2 months later, oh, by the way, she's back.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Because comics.
Mm-hmm. Like the day after she died, they were like, oh, we're bringing her back. Yeah.
Well, if I were Marvel, that is something that I would definitely work on, is like, everyone at Marvel seems to like say this and like agree, but like Tom Brevoort, Dan Slott have all been like, oh, you start here, you take your character on your journey, and then by the time you're done as an author, you reset the character back to like the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Marvel doesn't ever let the status quo change, it seems. And obviously that's people's frustration with Spider-Man. But I was genuinely so shocked when they let Eddie Brock's Venom like remain the King in Black. Also, I have to take this call. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Sure.
I was like, we're getting the call finally.
CB Cebulski's pissed at us.
All right, well, Jack gets back. I'm keep an eye on that. I think one of the things that one of the things that I think publishers are not capitalizing on is digital stuff. DC tried doing their webtoons, and they're still doing webtoons, and I think they're rather popular. I don't know if that's translating over to like stuff, but for some reason, Marvel chooses to put their Infinite titles behind the paywall.
Yeah,
which would be like, that's the stuff that should be free. And here, I think we can bring back.
I'm back.
I think their Infinite titles that they do, they reformat old stories. That's the stuff they could do for free on the Marvel Unlimited app to get people interested in then reading more stuff. I also don't, like Image does a lot of free volume ones. Every once in a while, they'll do like a free thing. But they don't, for some reason, they're not, like, none of these publishers are really capitalizing on the webtoons kind of format that is really popular. Of like, sometimes people just want to read stuff on their phone, and maybe that's not the thing that appeals to us because we like holding a book. But that's probably something that you could at least invest on, even if you're just reformatting old stories to fit that format. So I don't know that there's a lot of digital platforms and they could still take advantage of that. They're just not doing so. So I don't know how much effort that is.
That global comics that just came out from the guys that made Comixology, I dig what they're doing, because the way I see Marvel and DC approaching it is having books that should always be in print as the foundation of what they start with in there. So they see how those do, and then can add more to them. So
when we do our show of books that should always be in print, we cannot pick Watchmen, because that's just a disservice to Alan Moore. Because then he'll never get out of that contract. All right. Does anybody have any other? We got maybe room for one or two more complaints, and then we'll kind of wrap up with more good stuff about the comic industry.
To kind of finish my thought about the. Oh,
right,
go ahead.
We'll do Jack, Jeff, and then Josh.
Okay. To kind of finish off my complaint, like all the Robins have stuck around at DC.
Like started on Robins. Oh
wait, all the Robins?
they all okay. However. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man feels like they're still trying to cling on to like the 80s, and like Gwen Stacy is back as a Spider Person, and yeah, it's not the same Gwen Stacy, but it kind of just why can't there be permanent lasting changes? And I don't even need everyone to stay dead all the time, but I want to see these characters grow, and yeah, you can stunt their growth, you can challenge them, you can have them revert back, but like with Red Hood, like that's, I feel, is a good example. They just don't really know if they want him to be a good guy or a bad guy, and I'm like, you can have him kind of go back and forth, but you've got to have a good reason, not just Batman saved the Joker just like he did the first time I came back, and like he's done countless times since I've been back, and I'm still mad about it. And so
every time he's like the Winter Soldier, every time he sees a crowbar, he resets to factory settings.
August. Yeah, they say the magic words. Peter Parker, 616 Peter Parker is the most frustrating character in Marvel Comics for me, because he is surrounded by a bunch of spider people who must think he's the biggest loser, and they're all like, how are we spun off out of you? You can't you can't get your shit together, like you're constantly. And I feel like from the publisher all the way down, they're like, no, he needs to hold on to that bad Peter Parker luck. And I'm like, he's a boring character for me now. I think that's why at your shop Ultimate outsells him by double, because that Peter, he's still kind of fumbly. Ultimate Spider-Man is still kind of fumbly, but he's got his shit a little bit more together, and so he's a bit more interesting. I hate to live in a world like where we don't have, Franklin or Valeria, because somebody in the day was just like, the Fantastic Four is there's 4 of them. Why are we adding 2 of them? And they have a whole family structure around them now. Alicia's part of the family. Ben has 2 kids that he's adopted, and I love it. Superman's the same way. He's got a kid. Like all these things.
He's got a bunch of
characters. He's got a bunch of kids. He's got 2 adopted kids and his own kid. Yeah.
Even Diana has a kid now, and it seems like Lizzie's gonna stick around, which I'm so stoked for.
Oh, she's trouble.
And
trouble.
But I really feel like with Marvel, it's like once a certain group of editors came on board, everything had to stay the same since. And so to your point, Jeff, it's like, thank God, like Franklin and Valeria came like before maybe Quesada probably, but because they've been allowed to grow because they were already established, but like if they hadn't been, they probably wouldn't be around still.
I would say Quesada is probably the last editor-in-chief that I've really, because that's when the first Ultimate stuff came out. That's when we got the rise of Hickman and Bendis and Fraction and like all those guys that he like it's not, Marvel still kind of does the same thing. They'll take swingers on young kind of up and coming writers. Stephanie Phillips is writing Daredevil, which is great because that could be her first big, main title character, feather in her cap kind of thing.
But no, she destroyed Harley Quinn.
But I feel like they don't stick with them, or they don't, like, once they get to the certain level, Marvel doesn't want to pay for them anymore, and so then they go off and do whatever.
Once their contract back up for renewal, they're like,
and then they go away and they just kind of fill the space, which is why I don't have faith in them. So I don't know.
All right, Josh, you had one more thing.
I mean, are we just at a place where comics would be better if they just stopped trying to do tentpole classic characters? Like, just, I mean, again, I'm thinking of the absolute brilliance and success of Saga, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's just give creators a chance to do something completely original, and and I feel like Marvel and DC understand how creaky it is, because how many times we have Black Knights, we have Marvel Now, we have like all these attempts to like get a little imprint that can just let creators just go hog wild with shit without feeling like they need to be part of canon. And so I wonder if
we had it. It was called Eclipse.
You're right. We did.
And they let them do Marvel stuff. They let them do whatever. And we saw incredible stuff from.
We also had it with Vertigo at DC. Yeah. I mean, it just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just down, but I feel like the more often I'm picking up these weird ass non-canon titles with characters like Superman, like the Kryptonite Spectrum, right? Like Superman and Batman and Cap and Spider-Man. And I'm just always like, why are these just not in the main book? Like, I think that's where I keep getting really frustrated is.
I get where you're coming from, but I do feel like that's also an attempt to let the author just tell their story.
Okay, that's fair.
Not have to build off another thing or worry about someone else build. And so I do get where you're coming from, but I would say there are pros and cons to that from a storytelling element.
That's completely fair. I totally get that. So is the true problem editorial?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's distribution and editorial, because I do think you need these big tentpole Marvel and DC to kind of keep the whole thing afloat. They are the rising tides that help all the ships. And as much as we dogged on them, like the tides are doing very well. Like we started off the show talking about how the movie industry is shrinking to just where there's 2-3 distributors for all of that stuff. Whereas not Marvel, but the comic industry, I mean, there's so many publishers out there right now. Like it was back in the day, back in the early 80s, where you could, I mean, it's not just Marvel, DC, Image, but there's also Oni. There's also the Oni, Dark Horse, Ahoy, is Upshot AWA still around? Kitchen Sink, I don't know how many. There's so many out there. I can't even keep count. So it's a really healthy industry, I think.
Yeah.
It's just, it could be
That's
healthier.
a good point. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a great segue, because I wanted before the last question I'll have, so you can start thinking about it now. What is your favorite thing about comic books right now? So keep that in the back of your head. In the meanwhile, I want to talk a little bit about independent publishers, which like independent is also like a very tiered thing now, because like Image and Dark Horse is not the same as like an actual indie comic person that like a little publisher that just started, right? But I think they're doing a lot of really cool things where they found that I think, at least personally, I think a really cool balance between licensed properties, right? There's a lot of that going on. Dynamite, IDW, Dark Horse, they all have like that's kind of like their tentpole, because they don't have a Batman or Dark Horse has Hellboy. But outside of that, they kind of rely on other properties to then bring in the readers to actually check out all the other cool stuff that they're doing. IDW is launching the IDW Dark titles, like that they've been doing, more horror tinge. I think one of the coolest things that's happened in comic books in a long time is the return of anthologies. I love anthologies, and I know they may not be the best sellers, but like EC Comics coming back through Oni, and the Twilight Zone doing their own anthology, and a lot of these are kind of horror based, because I feel like that's a good format. But just the fact that I said anthologies and Josh just ran away.
I'm grabbing show and tell.
Okay. I think the return of anthology comics, because it's so much easier to sit down and read an 8-page story than to get through like a 150-page story, right? But it can still have a really cool impact. Like those Twilight Zone books have been outstanding. Like both issues have been great. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else on the independent side, or even just on the anthologies that you guys want to talk about.
Well, I mean, they always got good characters and good teams out of them, so it's always nice when they would bring up like a random character that would show up in a book that kind of had a lot of hype that would spin off and get their own character. But I think the last one we saw like that was like Spider-Gwen. Didn't she spin out of an anthology book?
Yeah, the Edge of Spider-Verse little one shots.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, they could come up with great ideas like that. But I mean, I love the DC seasons ones that they put out, because it was like a $10 anthology book that usually had at least 5 or 6 stories in them, and just all kinds of teams, because you could mix and match, and it was just great. So that's the kind of anthology I love.
Yep. Now, Josh, what was your show and tell?
I mean, I think to your point, and this might be too specific because it's not exactly the industry.
If there's a show to get niche, is this show?
Yeah, true. But I do want to give props. Hang on, there's now more I have to grab. To publishers kind of like redeveloping universes in ways that feel both very fresh but also very respectful. I'll give you an example too. We have the Energon universe, which I think has been an absolute smashing success, right? To take these properties and not just be like, hey, Gen Xers, you remember those cartoons you liked? But it's like they're being respectful to them, but also building something new. And I love that. Another one that I love is the revival of the Conan line. And not just Conan, but all the Robert E. Howard properties. It's been nothing short of fantastic. And speaking of anthologies, just the return of EC. I feel like all these things have been big swings and big successes. And that's why I kind of want Marvel and DC to eat a little bit of crow. I feel like they should be looking at these and going like, okay, maybe we're doing something wrong, you know?
I will tell you, I was surprised when DC announced that Vertigo's coming back that they not have an anthology book of their own.
Exactly.
It feels like the perfect spot to put one in.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point.
So, all right. Anything else on indie comics that you guys are enjoying before we move to our last big question of our favorite thing in comics right now?
I'd say Distillery.
Oh,
they have big names, established
big
names,
books too.
and big books. And I think the people hate the oversized format, and I get it because it stands out pretty noticeably from the collection. But I also think it's a good way to distinguish yourself. And so for all Distillery books to be oversized, I kind of wish DC had stuck with that for their Black Label imprint too. But not every Black Label book is magazine size. But I don't know. I think Distillery makes me happy. I for the most part, I like the people there. I've enjoyed
they're
almost all the content.
They're very upfront about like, this book is not releasing monthly.
Yes.
This book is going to take time. But stick with it, or just wait for the collection, or go on our new service Neon Ichiban and just get the digital thing there or whatever. Which digital comics is probably a whole other show that we're ill prepared for, but so we won't really dive into it. But yeah,
but there's no ads. But yeah, I don't feel like Distillery is necessarily like the money maker that it could be, or that like other titles are, but I do think they're on the right track, and I do love how Distillery operates as a publisher. So
one of my favorite things that they do in their marketing is that they actually make you think that comic books are cool because they are cool, like just because they're comic books, not because like, you know, whatever Batman's in them or whatever. It's just like, this is a cool comic. You're going to like it. Like the way they marketed this Galactic thing. It's like, this is the new Star Wars, kids. But like, what if Quentin Tarantino directed it or whatever? I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of hype you got to get behind, and it's really good. I really love Galactic #1. So great. Anything else on independent comics? All right. Well, let's. Who does anybody want to start with their favorite thing about comic books right now to close out the show? Is anyone ready? I can start.
Blind bags.
Blind
comics.
I could talk for an hour about blind bags. I feel like
which is one of the reasons I did not bring it up because I'm both a problem and I see a problem. So yeah, I'll kick this off and then let you guys pick up. I think that comic books has not been at a high place like this in a long time. I mean, there's a lot of issues still, but there's so much diversity in stories, in creators, in the publishers. Like, you can get your capes if you want them. You can get your Ninja Turtles and the Godzilla Renaissance that is happening. That I'm fully loving every single. Like, you can get your Godzilla Masterpiece Theater, or you can get your Godzilla just kicking ass with DC characters or Marvel characters or the Ninja Turtles. I love all these crossovers. I wish we would get more manga comic crossovers. I think the Naruto TMNT thing was really cool. So yeah, I like that they're really trying stuff out. We got Vertigo coming back, so that means they're at least, if you haven't checked out my the interview with Kyle Starks, he talks about they wanted to bring it back with teams that are tried and true, but they're now letting them kind of do their own thing instead of just allowing those creators to go do, because they could just leave and then publish their own book on an indie place, right? Like, which is kind of how we got Helen of Windhorn, where Tom King and Bill Kazevely did Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow together, and then they did their own thing. Like, well, just give them a platform for that. So they're trying a lot of things. I think Marvel's kind of falling behind in that, because when they do have a good thing, like, then now it's ending. Which I know that was originally the plan all along. Jonathan Hickman's talked about that, but like, you extended the Clone Saga, man. Come on, give this one a chance. This is actually really good. So yeah, there's just so much out there. I go to the shop every Wednesday, and I'm like, or when we talk about our pull list coming up, I'm like scared of how many books are out that I want to check out. But it's so fun. And then, of course, I always appreciate that. Luckily for us, we've made a lot of contacts with a lot of these publishers that they do allow us to read their books, which is great. So yeah, whether you want your old Thundercats from the 90s or 80s coming back, or you want something new like the Power Fantasy, like there's just such a spectrum right now, which I think is very cool. So
that's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that I was gonna add was I've noticed, like, every time like a series ends or I drop a book from my pull list, it does not take long for something to take its place. And I think that is a good indicator of the consistency from at least the market, if not the publishers themselves. Because if I'm still buying the same number of books each week or each month, then, well, they haven't lost me. And as the prices of the books go up, then that means they're only making more money. So
yeah.
Holding the line at $2.99.
That's right. But we're gonna double ship this book, so keep an eye on it.
Right.
Yeah. I do wish that they had. I know we're supposed to be things that I like, DC.
But the Gen X in you will not allow you to.
But the Gen X in me will not. Yeah, be positive all the time. Jack's right, because there's always something to fill the. Once I drop something, there's always something to fill the void in my heart. But one of the books that ended this week was Birds of Prey, Kelly Thompson's Birds of Prey. And I love that book month to month. It was one of my favorite books, top of the pile every week it came out. And I think they ended it because it was just poor sales. It sounded, I've seen some of the interviews with her about it. She's like, well, it wasn't doing great in sales. And I think she has some health issues or something, or I don't know, but it made it sound like everything I heard was like she didn't want it to end, but it was just kind of best all around that it did. Mm-hmm. But I also wonder, like, what are the metrics that comics the publishers use to be like, this is not selling enough, so we have to either cancel it or whatever. Because I would love it if they shrunk those metrics a little bit and just been like, you know what, or maybe had different, a little bit
more runway on those things. I think.
That is a good point, because like Birds of Prey in my store sold about had about 8 to 9 subs. But then there are other books that run for much longer that only have 2 or 3 subs that are sub only books, because we don't move them on the shelf. And so I understand the metric needing to be a little higher for one of the big 2, but also that is a good question. What is that metric to where it's worth it for one publisher but not for another? So
yeah.
I'll just, one thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to give a quick shout out to. Mad Cave Studios is so good about the quick turnaround for the collections. As soon as the book ends, the month later or a month or 2 later, their collections are available, which means that it gives a lot of it gives you a chance, if you were one of those trade waiters, to actually go back and read the book before everyone forgets about it. So yeah,
that's my biggest problem as a trade, because I'm a monthly guy. I don't read a lot of trades, but there are sometimes now there's so many monthlies, like the Stephanie Phillips, Jean Grey Phoenix book that happened. I hear it's really good, and I'm like, maybe I'll read that, but I always forget about it because it's never,
I'm the same way, Jeff. I've been buying Adventures of Lumen and all the Universal monster stuff, basically just waiting for it just to get done. And one day I'm just going to pull out all the issues and just read them like a trade, because I haven't had a chance to read them month to month. So
yeah,
Jeff and I both talked about Invisible Man last weekend.
I have the last issue. Yeah, it's 4, right? Sitting here.
Yeah, 4.
And then we're getting Phantom of the Opera next.
I would be intrigued to see what they do with that. I feel like the twists in almost all of them have been really good, or not twists, but their
reinterpretation of the character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing, this is going to sound a little weird. My favorite thing, kind of going off what you said, Danny, it feels like the 90s again in the comics industry. You walk into a store and it's not just Marvel and DC. It's all this indie stuff, experimental stuff. There's kind of something out there for everyone. And I love that about the comics industry. The thing I find most remarkable is that this comics industry is thriving in spite of the fact that we finally have a massive multimedia comics world, right? We've got the DCU, the MCU, other films and TV properties coming out. And I think there is a universe in which all that could have happened, and the comics industry just pivoted to, here's the comics adaptation of that thing you're watching on Netflix or in the theater. And they didn't do that. Instead, I think they realized we're 2 separate things, right? And to add to that, the fact that I feel like what makes this era of multimedia comic property so successful is they're emulating the comics, right? They're not just okay, we're gonna do Batman but dark. We're gonna do the X-Men, but they have to all wear black leather because those costumes look silly, right? Yeah. It
took 25 years, but we're there.
Yeah, exactly. It's about it. They are now embracing the comics, and it's making those better too. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's what makes me happy about this industry at the moment.
Very nice. All right, Clay, can we get something happy out of you?
I knew you were gonna have. Just really, I love the fact that comics are being pushed to trades really quick. Even though I complain, they write for the trade, because I go pick up trades at the library. I got the Universal Monsters Frankenstein trade, because it was, ordered and quickly in my library. So it's nice to be able to get those quickly. And this is one thing I like from the publishers that is not great for comic book stores. They overproduce a ton of trades and hardbacks so that they're in Ollie's and oversell shops everywhere, and it's $125 book. Like I bought an omnibus yesterday that's $125 book for $35. Now that's great for me, but that's terrible for a comic book store. And I don't want to get all my books from Ollie's, but they're overproducing a ton of stuff, and that overflow is just ending up in other shops and hurting comic book stores.
It is weird that omnibus has its own like speculative market as well. Like some omnibus are really hard to find. Some are like, for some reason, overprinted.
And some of them have variant covers, which is just a dust cover for a collection that's all the same books.
Lately, they have been doing variants for trades also, and they'll do like one print run. They call it like the direct market exclusive variant, and I'm like, I don't know about this just yet.
That's straight out of just like regular book publishing. Book publishers have so many different versions of their books, which I guess makes sense that they would use that, because I know there's like, there's a little trade paperback, there's a deluxe editions and stuff like that, like for regular books. So it would make sense that and they do it. They do. I have so many copies of Miracle Man in their very specific formats. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest problem is just they're overproducing, and it's hurting the comic book stores. But for someone who doesn't have a lot of money, I could pick up like an omnibus full of issues for really cheap. I picked up Tom King's whole run on Batman for $10 in a hardback.
Jack, for omnibus, like you probably only get them if somebody goes and actually pre-orders them from you guys, right?
Yes.
It's not like you don't normally have those sitting. Maybe it's like a Batman or a Superman one. You might have it at the shelf, but otherwise, it's probably a thing that I gotta go. Like if they make a Birds of Prey omnibus, I would have to go ask you at the store, like, hey, can you pre-order this for me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
At least at my shop. I can't speak for others.
Yeah.
But yeah, omnibuy is the plural.
Sure.
Omnibuses.
Omnibusy.
Whoa, easy.
Whoa, Daniel. Okay.
I know this kind of that was that kind of show.
Said the 6'7" guy, all right?
Double demonetized.
We're gonna close out the show with a Fortnite dance and then get out of here.
Oh no! Is it just going to be that video? Jeff
Yeah.
My Archie video.
What was I saying?
If you haven't seen Jeff,
talking about Omnibuy.
Oh yeah, they just don't really do that well at the shop, unfortunately.
I would imagine.
And I do get it, because they're not the most approachable for new readers, because it's like, hey, spend $100 to $150 on this book that you're not sure if you'll like or not, and
could kill you if you drop it on your head.
Yeah. Like
you know what I would love to see? Here's one thing I would love to see publishers do. The big publishers. I want them to. They're doing these things, the compacts. They should shrink these compacts even more to like the old Archie size digests, and have like those in like Walmarts, like where they put the candies and stuff like that, or at 7-Eleven
checkouts.
But do you want the paper downgraded? Because that's what it would be too.
Yeah. I mean, like maybe mass market for every. Because when Danny said there's different kinds of books.
Yeah,
because there are hardback books, there's the trade paperback books, and then they have the pocket-sized paperback books. Those pocket-sized paperback books are, they cost the publishers like 50 cents to make. They, whatever. They're cheap, they're disposable. But that's why Archie is omnipresent in everybody's mind, because all those Archie digests, and those things become collectible too, because just the same way that the old Golden Age comics, they are highly, disposable. And so when they do become collectibles, because there's not that many around, but DC and Marvel used to do that. They used to do these small things like back in the 70s and 80s. Go back to that, and then just put them everywhere.
Jeff, that idea is brilliant, and I'm honestly shocked that comic publishers haven't thought of this, because when Archie and even like those old like Mad paperback collections, those things succeeded in an era where you would see them at the checkout, but you may have walked by a massive display of magazines, right? Yeah. That doesn't exist anymore. All we get at like Target at the checkout are those like, what do they call them? Those like special issue things, like Times issue about, you know, Nikola Tesla or whatever,
Princess Di or whatever.
Yeah. And so it's like you're only competing against this tiny minority of like weird one-off issues. So yeah, just compete with that. Like just put them there. I mean, can you imagine a kid in line being like, I want that Batman comic for like $4, you know? And it's like 100 pages. It's this big, made for tiny hands. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's like the Court of Owls. You get Court of Owls there for $4, you know? And
maybe not for a kid, but yeah.
Who wouldn't want to
I would totally give a kid Court of Owls.
Some kid at the grocery store just picks up an issue of Preacher and opens it up to our space, and you're like, oh, well, there goes that.
Yeah, but the print is so degraded that you can't even tell what it is. So
right.
To reinforce that even more, though, like I walked by and some magazine had put out a like history of Batman or Batman anniversary thing.
I saw
and
that.
It had the Dan Mora cover of Christian Bale and Batman Begins. Yeah. And I was like, oh, a Batman thing. And it just caught my eye. I didn't know they were doing it, but
that doesn't go there.
Me being me, I was like, that's Dan Mora's art and that's Batman. If some 5-year-old kid walks by, and I'm sure he could convince his mom to buy a $2 to $5 anthology like thing, and then like there was one time, y'all, I might have told this story to y'all before, but my mom was like, you're spending way too much money on comics. Like, I don't want you doing that. You need to like cut back. And I was like, okay, I'll just go buy drugs instead. And I have never seen my mom drop something so fast and just like walk away. And I'm like, I'm reading and a nerd in high school.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
shut up.
Because that's how I got in it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid reading
drugs,
the only thing I read was comics. Now I pay for both. But back in the day, my mom had a hard time getting me to read, but she knew I would read comics, so she just like fed that monster because she was like, at least he's reading, you know?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of parents would be like that. You know, you got me. Now you have my monster, which is me.
Great. All right. Well, I think that's a great place to end this. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jack, for joining us.
No problem. Don't do drugs, guys.
Yeah, don't do drugs. Read comics. Don't do drugs.
Well, maybe.
You got the old guys up here being like, I don't know.
Hey, you know what? I got joint pain going on. I gotta take something.
Don't do manufactured drugs. How about that?
Okay.
Unless your doctor has a prescription for them, I guess. That's a slippery slope. Anyway, go check out. I'll drop a link to Jack's stuff on the description of this video, so you can check out his films. Thank you, Jack, for joining us. We were talking last week about how lucky we are to have so many comic shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are amazing. Boomerang Comics being one of those as well. As we get to the end of the year, make sure to fill out our survey. We already got quite a few responses, more than I expected in the first week. The survey closes out on December 31st, and then after that, we'll do a show talking about all the results. What else? Any other plugs? Nope. No, I don't think so. We'll start working on our best of comics and movies and stuff as the year wraps up. So let us know what you enjoyed this year. I think that's all I have.
Yep.
So we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and stay tuned. Anybody that wants to just hear about comics that came out this week, join me, probably Jeff, and maybe some of these other guys tomorrow on our Sunday show where we just talk about comics. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
The most important ththing in life will always be
El Bebo.
Simon Center, get the fuck out.
All right, bye.
Get out of here, you weirdo.